Hello, my wonderful students, and welcome to this lecture on how to create a directory from the command line. Now, before we get started, I want you to briefly recall a concept that I had already introduced. The Unix concept of a directory is similar to the Mac concept of a folder. And now I want to introduce a new concept. When you create a directory or file in Unix, this directory or file will be created in your current working directory. So let's come back over here to our terminal, and I want you to recall what a current working directory is. I know we have already gone over this, but it is really important to understanding for this lecture, so I'm going to be redundant. So a current working directory is the directory that you are presently in. When we pull up the bash shell, we are both in our home directory and our current working directory. However, if we move over to our desktop directory, like we will do now, this will be our current working directory. And in order to create a file or folder in this directory, we have to be in it. So I'm going to go ahead and click off the GUI, or pardon me, click off the terminal and into the GUI to reinforce this point. So say I wanted to create a folder named test_1 in my desktop directory, i.e. my desktop environment. Well, where would I need to click? I would need to click in my desktop environment. So let's go ahead and do that. Right click on the graphical user interface, click on new folder, and label this test_1 and go ahead and hit enter. Now, if I wanted to create a folder in my applications directory, I could do this by doing command spacebar, typing in Finder, and going ahead and hitting enter. And you can see my applications directory is pulled up here. And if I wanted to create a directory here, I would right click new folder and create a directory. You can understand that it matters where we create this new directory. If we're in our applications directory, we will create a directory in there. If we are in our desktop directory, i.e. desktop environment, we will create a directory there. So that being said, let's go ahead and drag this to our trash can and exit out of the Finder. So now that we understand the concept of a current working directory and that it is important to be inside your current working directory to create a folder or file, let's go ahead and make our first folder, i.e. directory. So the command to do this will be mkdir test_2. And we'll go ahead and hit enter, and you will see this pop up in my desktop directory. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete these 3 folders to open up some screen real estate. And I'm going to go ahead in one line of code make 2 directories. So I will do this by hitting mkdir test_1 test_2. The space in between the test_1 and the test_2 is what lets Unix know that you are creating 2 separate directories. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And here we go. Test1 and test2 are created. Now I want to go ahead and talk about improper naming conventions. In the previous lecture we went over how to name files correctly. Now what happens if we name them incorrectly? Well, it can cause major problems. So imagine your boss comes to you and says, I want you to upload a new test directory into our external server. And you say, yes sir, I'll name it test1. And you go mkdir test1. What do you think is going to happen here? Well, you're not going to create 1 directory, you are going to create 2, and they are going to be test, as you can see here, and 1. So you will have not actually done what your boss asked you to do, which was just to create 1 directory named test1. You would have to put an underscore. And that is why naming convention is so important. And this sort of stuff happens all the time with data. So it's really important to be careful with this. So that's all I have for this lecture. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next one. Until then, happy learning.